All right. Here we are, the last panel of the 8th annual Digital Entertainment World. I can, what a week. We have gone from television and streaming to entertainment and brands to games and esports to rights tech to today's music and podcasting sessions. Over 120 speakers. We've had close to 2,000 attendees this week. Wow, folks, I really appreciate all the energy everyone's just been displaying, commenting in the chat, sending questions in the Q&A. Our speakers have been outstanding, fantastic sponsors. We couldn't do it without you guys. And again, a big round of applause for Tim Czar, Laura, and Ginny on the DMW team who make this thing run so smoothly. We saved, I don't know, the best for last, maybe. We're going to tackle the question of music and the metaverse, the massive opportunity for artists and labels. And as I introduce our panelists, please turn on your video and your audio. Oana Ruxandra, Chief Digital Officer of Warner Music. Welcome, yes. Oana. Great to see you. Adam Leber. Adam is a partner at Maverick Management. Adam, great to have you on.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And we have John Vlassopulos, who is Global Head of Music at Roblox. Hey, John.
Hello, Ned.
And our moderator is John Boyle. John has been in the music industry for a while. His latest position, President of Live Nation Japan. He was also at Insomniac events, running some of the biggest events in the industry before that. Welcome, John.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, Ned. All right, so again, I'm John Boyle. Spent the last 10 years running Live Nation Japan and also Insomniac. I'm currently spending most of my time on the golf course and cooking for my family, as we have no live business, which is part of the reason I'm so excited to moderate this panel, because this has provided the metaverse has provided a real tangible vehicle for artists to be live, albeit in a virtual world. So I'd like to start the panel off by, I've received quite a few emails and texts. What is the metaverse? So thanks to Wikipedia, I'd like to give the Wikipedia definition of metaverse. The metaverse is a collective virtual shared space created by the convergence of virtually enhanced physical reality and physically persistent virtual space, including the sum of all virtual worlds, augmented reality, and the internet. The word metaverse is made up of the prefix meta, meaning beyond, and the stem verse, a back formation from universe. The term is typically used to describe the concept of a future iteration of the internet made up of persistent shared 3D virtual spaces linked into a perceived virtual universe. So I'd like to maybe just kind of go down the line and ask everybody, what is your perception of the metaverse, and what are your roles in the metaverse within your respective buckets? So Oana, you are EVP of Warner Music. What's your perception of, I know you're a big champion of this space, your soapbox, if I'm not mistaken. So kind of share with us your perception and your role in it.
Yeah, sure. So just taking it back a little bit, at Warner, what we have seen obviously over the past year and just generally is the rapidly evolving shift of technology and consumption patterns that are presenting an enormous number of opportunities. Our lives are more digital, it's more virtual. COVID has obviously changed the digitization of everything from businesses to institutions to behaviors. And the dominant trends that we see are entertainment in which that is interactive, that it's social, where anyone can experience, anyone can be a creator and experiencer driven by the community. So during that time, we've seen the rise of a metaverse, and just exactly as you said, John, but a little bit more succinctly, we think about that as the metaverse as a digital place where people can seamlessly get together and interact in millions of experiences in the 3D virtual space. I'm just going to quote Dave Baszucki, who obviously is a big part of this, right? He had a Wired article a month ago or so, and he really said that The metaverse is arguably one of the biggest shifts in terms of online communication, from the telephone, from the internet, and that's definitely what we think here at Warner. We see the opportunity for the build out of social experiences, interactive experiences, entertainment experiences throughout the metaverse. And our goal at Warner is to ensure that our artists and our fans are capitalizing on that convergence.
Thank you. Adam, your take.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think as an artist manager and working directly with artists always want to be on the precipice of culture. And I think they're always looking for what's next when it comes to, you know, culture and technology. And I think with respect to the metaverse, this just gives them another platform and another landscape to actually do things that they've never been able to do before, to create in a sense where you can be completely interactive and build worlds for your audience that obviously in the real world you'd never be able to do. So having the ability to sort of like, you know, bring your audience and outside audiences into a world that you're able to create for them in a way that you would never be able to do is obviously incredibly compelling. And it's something that, you know, John Vlassopulos and I have been sort of working on for the last year. And obviously it's sort of in its infancy stages to a degree, but I think we're going to see the space grow in a major way. And I think we're going to see a lot of artists and a lot of creatives coming in and doing amazing things that have never been done before.
John V, you're the platform here. Give us your take on the metaverse.
Sure. So, and having known Adam for a year or so, it's the first time I've heard him say my last name. Thank you, Adam. It was beautiful.
I try to avoid it at all costs in case I flub it and embarrass myself. I did good though, no?
No, it was beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah. So first, I think it's, you know, the metaverse description that you read is generally on point. Oana's succinct, you know, summary was also on point in quoting Dave. So I think it really is the beginning of a new era, right? So from a platform perspective, I worked at carriers 20 years ago, and we were a platform then when mobile was coming of age. So the thing that drew me to Roblox was that the metaverse really for the first time is now another platform. It's another evolution, and it's pretty exciting where it is persistent. I have a 9 and 11-year-old, and for them, it is their parallel life. So if we've seen Ready Player One and Snow Crash, I mean, some of this has been played out in sci-fi, and we're almost running out of sci-fi as things are now being built in the present day. So yeah, so the metaverse for us, that we hope in the future there will be this notion of an interconnected metaverse, right? But at the moment we are one, if you like, island, in the same way. And if all of us remember back, Ned certainly does, like to the carrier days, there was an era where you couldn't text your friend on another carrier, right? Which sounds weird now to anyone saying, but if you were on AT&T and I was on T-Mo, that was no dice. So I think there will be this interconnected metaverse where there are many metaverses, metaversi or whatever. But for now, it is this parallel, very real, you know, to the kids' experience and place that has an economy, that has this shared experience, and that you can build upon. So we are, as you said, John, a platform. Millions of amazing creators build on the platform, and you know, and have done for 15 years. And we try and do all the things that we do. We make sure that it's easy to build. We make sure it's safe, especially for the under 18s audience. We make sure people get paid and can earn money and generate revenue, and we make sure it works, you know, as globally as possible. And we're continuing to innovate to offer it on more platforms. So that's generally the metaverse. And from a music perspective, as Adam says, you know, or said before, you know, what better place as the kids and teens, our community, are hanging out on Roblox. It's not really gaming, it's somewhat of a misnomer. So it's an interactive entertainment platform. So what better than music and concerts to bring that experience to them? And then over the coming years, you know, we want to unlock the amazing creativity in the music industry, from artist management, artists to labels and everyone in between, in the live side, to start building, you know, on the platform and bring all that creativity to life, to engage fans and artists, and fan engagement, fan and artist engagement, and just evolve everything and make it more fun and exciting for the community.
Thank you all for that. You know, I just want to share some numbers. you know, my first experience with a metaverse concert, if you will, was Marshmello in early 2019, pre-pandemic, which the data that I discovered told me Marshmello got 10 million concurrent views. Since then, we've seen Travis Scott on Fortnite. And, you know, I think John's going to maintain his humility here. But for those in the audience who don't know, half of everybody under the age of 18 in America is on Roblox. Half. Everybody under 16 is on Roblox. And I think 1/3 of everybody under 20 is on Roblox, is the data that I pulled. I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son. My son schooled me for 2.5 hours today as we drove out to the desert for our golf weekend. And it's really fascinating. I'm very impressed with the fact that it's a developer platform that does a revenue share with its developers. So it truly does monetize for the users. Fast forwarding to recent history, Lil Nas X, 33 million people is the number I have. And that was a concert, I believe it happened 4 times over a weekend. I'll let you guys go into the details of it. Ava Max from Atlantic did a record release party. I think we should just kind of delve into these two as kind of case studies so our audience understands how it works. I think on the surface, a lot of people think, oh, you can do this. But I don't think people understand the planning, the production, the uploading process, the testing that's required, the marketing. So I kind of want to delve into all of that. So why don't we start with you, Adam, and Lil Nas X, and John. How did this come about? Like, what was the genesis and what was the process?
Take it away, Adam.
Yeah, no, I believe that, you know, John had reached out to Nas's label about potentially doing something, a large launch event around Nas. The idea was to do the first ever Roblox concert, which obviously was interesting to us in the fact that it was a first of its kind. Again, like to what I was saying before, artists are always looking to do first. They always want to be the first out of the gate. They always want to be, I think, again, on the precipice of culture and technology. And I think that was exciting to us right from the start. Exciting enough that we based our entire single and album rollout strategy around it. And you got to remember, you know, this is a young man who's coming off of, you know, his first EP, one of the songs on the EP being the biggest song in the history of music ever. So obviously, needless to say, this launch, the relaunch of his career and the first song off of what will be his first ever album was obviously really, really important to us. And I think when John, myself, and the label started talking and we started to understand not only the reach, I mean, the reach is always exciting, but what Nas would be able to create in conjunction with Roblox, it was unbelievable. It was something that we had never seen or been able to sort of to create. And I think that was unbelievably compelling to us, to the point that we somewhat crafted it played into our initial song choice. It played into the creative of his music video. We wanted to mirror the Roblox performance with a lot of the aesthetic of his past videos and the current video. And, you know, again, we wanted to create an environment that was natural to Nas, but exciting for the audience. And I think, you know, the Nas experiment was a really, really obviously successful one. But I think as John and I have been talking recently after that, you know, it was a really amazing learning experience. And we started discussing, okay, what can we do next? How can we incorporate, you know, gaming mechanics into a performance? Can we create can we create sort of almost like musical theater in a sense that plays out, you know, to the audience, you know, in terms of a concert. Can there be a storyline? You know, can the songs play into that storyline? I mean, again, the ideas and the opportunities are endless. And I think Nas being the jump off point in such a successful way was a great start. But I think, you know, we're only getting started in terms of what artists can do on that platform in general.
Yeah, I think building on that from Adam. So yeah, I think the exciting part is, you know, DSPs and streaming, you know, companies are great. But the expression for an artist on those platforms of a bio, you know, maybe a picture and a play button is somewhat limited for the creativity that we know artists have. So I think the exciting part with Roblox was, you know, to open up this creative palette, you know, to the music industry and artists. And again, back in the day, there was no one knew what a website was. Then someone did a website. No one knew what an app was. Then someone did an app, and people jumped on board. So we wanted to have sort of a template going, if, you know, we know it's not going to be the best ever, but to have a pretty good swing at doing something on the platform that would resonate with the community, would kind of push the platform a little bit. So the aesthetics that you saw with Nas, we played around again with the beginning. He was blocky Nas, and then he came to be this amazing full high-res Nas, which took people by surprise in terms of evolving what the platform is capable of. So yeah, so we reached out. Nas was already very popular, I mean, not surprisingly, with the community. So he was a top choice, and I think the conversation started pretty early in the year, you know, probably in the spring to early summer, and then it snowballed. So John, to your point earlier, this is not yet. We hope to get to the point where we snap our fingers and everything goes live, but this took some planning, and we wanted to make it very collaborative, you know, with Nas and Adam and the label. So it was really a creative production. It was somewhere between like a little short animated movie and like a live concert production and a game. You know, all of this sort of rolled into one. So it was a great experience. And I think the more Nas leaned in towards the end, the magic really started to happen. So once the light bulb went off in his head, and I think so Adam can talk to it, but some of his family members and cousins were going, "Hey, Uncle Nas, you're on Roblox," right, Adam? He got more into it, and then he lit up TikTok, and I'll pass back to Adam.
Yeah, no, I was just going to bring that up as well, which is that, you know, obviously Nas was aware of Roblox and he understood what it was, but, you know, I don't have kids. And so, you know, I am a huge gamer. I mean, I've been a massive gamer since I was a kid, you know, everything from Pong to ColecoVision, you know, onto Nintendo and so on and so forth. So I understand the gaming space very, very much so. And I understand this space very much so, but I don't have kids. So I don't, you know, I don't typically interact with anyone that's really, you know, on the platform as much. And what I learned from Nas, which was really exciting to me, was he knew about the platform. He liked the platform. His family members certainly liked the platform. Like when the kids around him found out he was doing Roblox, he all of a sudden, it didn't matter that, you know, he wrote and created Old Town Road. Now he was, you know, he was going to be the guy on Roblox doing the first concert ever. And that was the most compelling thing ever, right? So you got excited about that. But as to John's point, as we got into the process and as he started to see things come to life, the creative, what he would look like, how he could interact on the platform, what he can build. And then actually, as he started to really go on the platform with his own avatar and, you know, his own creations and his own experiences on the platform, I mean, he was hooked, like he was on it 24/7. And I think, you know, again, as an artist manager, the most important thing when you work with a brand or a platform is that the artist truly loves what they're working, you know, who or what they're working with. And I think this was a perfect marriage, because as he started to see what he could do and as he started to get on the platform and engage with it, it was a love fest.
Yeah, and I think final thing, John, and pass back to you, but I think you know, you've got the physical events, and obviously physical events are fantastic, and they will come back strong as soon as possible. And you're rubbing shoulders with friends, and you know, the sweat of the band coming into the venue, and it's all very visceral. I think for you know, in a 3D space, at least you are almost virtually rubbing shoulders. So you're going with your crew, and for 2020 it was a tough year for everyone. So also bringing people together around something exciting like this new release, and around Nas, who inherently is exciting and larger than life, and trying to create these tentpole moments for the community, for the kids and teens, where they are dancing on stage. If you look at some of the the post, they're dancing on stage with Nas. And for a lot of the audience, this is not, they've been to tons of concerts. This is their first virtual concert. This is their first concert, full stop, right? So that, you know, for both my kids, my first concert was Genesis, you know, many years ago at Wembley Stadium. And forever, my kids' first concert will be Lil Nas X, as will millions of kids and teens around the world, which is kind of crazy to think about. So it's creating all these experiences to bring the artist closer, you know, to the fans, and have these moments of engagement that solidify the fandom, you know, that can grow, beyond the event. Adam?
Yeah. I want to get to Oana here in just 1 second, but in terms of, was there a ticket for this? I know it was there was no admission charge. Could anybody just jump in at any time? Was there a ticketing process?
So I'll answer quickly, and then I'll pass to Oana from a Oana perspective. So for this one, for Lil Nas X, we had merchandise. So the only way, generally, Roblox is not a kind of a ticketed experience. It's a lot of freemium. So the kids and teens are dressing up their avatars, and they're spending money expressing themselves, which is natural as in your teenage years that you would get band merchandise, and that would be how you express yourself and connect with friends. So the Nas merchandise was actually one of the first branded IP that we had to sell on Roblox. So that was if you like, the monetization or the way the kids could connect, but there was no fee to participate. And
just really quick on the merchandise component, because this is where I went to immediately. You know, in the live business, we have a thing called per caps, which is what the average attendee spends on merchandise. Can you address how robust the merchandise business was from this?
Yeah, I think without the specifics we've shared publicly, it was in the, you know, in the healthy 7 figures. So it was good. And I think for the effort of not having to physically manufacture anything and ship anything, right, where these are digital goods, I think it bodes well, you know, and this year we'll look to bring, you know, more artists on the platform and more sort of IP for the kids to express themselves. Because I think going back to what are the kids wanting to do, it's a little bit of that mobile era where why would ringtones, why would anyone pay more for a ringtone or a wallpaper? It was self-expression. So they wanted to personalize their experience. So I think as we allow them to have authentic merchandise from bands and artists that they love, I think it's going to be hopefully a bright future for all involved. And then you can play with scarcity. You know, Nas could decide he wants to knock up a new piece of merch, he tweets it out, and then he moves 100,000 new baseball caps on a Friday night. So it's pretty great as it integrates with social media, and we have the back channel, and the kids get excited with you know, representing through their fans of the artists they love.
I just wanted to add to that also. I mean, obviously it did really well because John and I had spoken, you know, over and over again over the, you know, after we had done the show, and, you know, a month or two after, we kept calling each other saying, well, we should leave the merch up. We should leave the merch up. And, you know, typically you're not leaving the merch up unless the merch is moving really consistently. So we were really happy with the result on it. And I think at the same time, you know, when you're looking at an artist with, you know, whether they have endorsement deals or partnerships, you know, the opportunities were sort of endless. I mean, Nas being sort of like a fashion icon, like, you know, he wore this unbelievable pink cowboy suit created by like Versace. I believe it was to the Grammys, but, you know, he wore this outfit and it was iconic. And I think that, you know, he has a deal with Gucci. And so, like, you know, those are some of the things we really wanted to explore. I don't think we got it done, you know, because of timing, but, like, you know, in the future, those were exciting things as well. Can you create, you know, those sort of iconic outfits that an artist, you know, has worn throughout the years? Can you, you know, put those up as a limited edition? There's so many opportunities, I think, to explore in this space. And especially, you know, with gaming, everything I think is, you know, everything is sort of that like scarcity model. Like, you know, everyone wants sort of what they can't have, obviously. And, you know, I think that to be able to explore that, I think is going to be down the road is going to be really exciting as well.
So I think we're going to have to come up with more terms that represent per caps in the digital and virtual space. For those in the audience, bands like Iron Maiden used to do $40 per head in per caps. So you can do the math. If you're playing 50,000 seats and you're doing $40 per head, they were making way more money in merchandise than they were in selling tickets. So let's move on to our case study with Ava Max. Oana, why don't you take us through the process of this, and and what why this was important to you.
Yeah, sure. And it echoes a lot of what Adam and John were, just saying. Again, the goal for Warner is to ensure that we're experimenting, building, learning from these new areas in which fans and audience and artists can interact. And every piece of this is an iteration. I think Adam was saying one of the most exciting things about Roblox and the world is that it's limitless, it's boundless what we can do, whether that's putting infinite virtue out there or being more concentrated and being more scarce. The Ava Max meetup was a first of its kind launch party. And there was an enormous amount of work that went into it. Obviously, the goal for us is to then create templates that we can distribute across other artists and we can do something a little bit more quickly. But ultimately, we created Ava's launch party with the Atlantic team and artist partner group, APG, along with some top developers from Roblox, and we leveraged Roblox party place experience. So we leveraged something that they had really already developed, which was really helpful for the experience. The goal of it was to bring the supernatural space theme that she has to the metaverse. Fans used their sky high dance floor to get up to Ava to ask her questions, listen to new tunes. There was a ton of merch, anything from heaven and hell wings and swords to clothes, whatever, etc. They were enabled to complete fun fan quests, to socialize, to game, to ask Ava questions. The idea was really to ensure that they're able to socialize, to experience this situation or this this launch party in as many ways as they could and that they were interested in. What we're really proud about is that Ava dug in, and just like I'm sure Naz, she saw the capabilities, and that's when she really got excited. And by the end of it, she was just saying, like, I can't wait to meet my fans. I miss being able to interact with them and other experiences. So she really dug in. One of the other cool things that we thought about it is, as much as it's forward thinking, forward looking, there's a lot of nostalgia there. That old loss of weekly release parties and weekly record release parties that I'm sure a lot of us used to go to. A little bit of that has been lost. And so while we're pushing, a lot of these things into this future filled metaverse, a lot of this is really about the nostalgia of the connection, human to human connection, being connected to that music, feeling that music in different ways was really one of the things that we really focused on. So we were really excited. I mean, I think it did really well. Obviously, we want to continue to experiment with other artists, and we're locked in with our relationship with Roblox and feel really good about it. But we're very proud of Ava for pioneering this kind of immersive experience, and we're just planning on doing as much more as we can.
Certainly. Go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, I think the inspiration I was trying to come up with, like the notion of a launch party, exactly as Juana was saying, I was channeling like old school Joe's Pub, like release parties in New York, and it having that intimacy where it felt like there was only 50, 80 of you in the room and the artist was doing something special. And I think that was why the two different metaphors, so 3D avatar with Naz, video, Jenny with Ava, but having actually her being able to see the fans running around, almost like the people in the room. And because Roblox, there's 50, 100 people on a server, so you're almost getting that lounge feeling, right? You're in there with a bunch of your friends. The artist can talk directly to you, going, "What's up, Roblox? Meet Ava Max." She obviously said it better. I mean, how exciting is that? If you're a fan, as all the fans came out there, and pick whoever your favorite artist is, you're going to have this intimate experience. And I think the ephemeral nature of it is exciting, where it is an event. I mean, John, you're an expert in events. They happen, they're not around forever. So this was something you had to be there, and the merch was like related to that experience. And if you missed it, you missed it, right? And maybe there's some airings, but generally next time you'll make sure you're there. And it was a special moment.
And that's the scarcity, that ephemeral moment was a lot about what her fans were talking about. Like, oh, did you get to see that? Were you there? You know, like that "were you there" thing came up a lot, and something that we were really excited about, people just feeling like that moment was something to be involved in, and like a feeling of loss if they weren't involved. It was really powerful.
And the other thing just on one is like New Music Fridays. I think for anyone who remembers like the video show pre-MTV,
Wow.
I'm way too young to remember that, but I'm sure, I don't know, maybe. But in music history, but it is a day for the music industry, which is important, when DSP drops on Thursday night and Friday. But 99.9% of fans have no idea, right? So it's still, they presume on Spotify and Apple that something happens on Friday. They're maybe not entirely sure why, but for the industry, it's very important. So we think about it. I used to be in the TV industry, so I was thinking about it's a programming block on Friday. So if we can have, when the kids and teens come back from school, or the community, that they can hop on the Roblox and see a whole bunch of launch parties as music is coming out, as albums are coming out, as tours are being announced, and they can kind of party hop, you know, across the platform. And you can bring your friends and say, hey, I'm going to go to a hip hop launch party, and that's my thing. And I bring Oana and Adam, and then Adam takes me to a rock one. So you're sort of using Discovery and people to hop around in these very visceral experiences to hopefully connect. Well, I feel kids have lost that connection, the visceral connection to music and to artists. Hopefully we can bring some of that back, where they really get excited, and the artists again can get closer to the fans. Sorry, I'll jump back to you, but that's.
Let me just add that shared moment is one of the biggest and most exciting parts about Roblox, right? We're kind of losing those shared moments, whether you're watching TV and watching, binge watching Netflix at a different time. We're losing those shared moments in a lot of different spaces, and Roblox is really bringing that back.
So just a couple of quick comments on my end. Roblox is quite unique, as my children shared with me, that you can attend a Roblox event with your group of friends. Some of the other platforms, you just kind of go and you don't necessarily get to gang up with your friends and like go as a group, which I think is again, virtually doing the best you can do to bring together that shared connection with your pre-existing friends, as opposed to just being one of, many other random folks at an event. The other comment I just want to bring up is, virtual merchandise has a great margin, obviously. The challenge has always been with physical merchandise, with touring artists, is inventory management. And it's also been very challenging when you go across the seas. And what I like about selling physical merchandise virtually is you don't have to manufacture anything ahead of time. You can do everything to spec. And so when you get to specialized goods or flash sales, if you will, you know exactly what you're making, what size, and you can manufacture it specifically. So the efficiencies in that are phenomenal. Oana, I do want to come back to you because, while working in Tokyo, everything was so Sony centric. But listening to the Warner earnings calls recently, the calls are over 50% about virtual, digital streaming, exercise. I'm learning that, again, this is kind of your soapbox. Can you touch on, just for recorded music and for artists, this new world of revenue that exists out there?
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's our companies and our team soapbox. I think that Warner is just not, I'm back here at Warner because we're just incredibly excited about all of the opportunity. Our lives are becoming more digital and more virtual, and music sits across all of it, right? I walk down the street, I'm listening to music, I'm talking to my friends, I'm listening to music, I'm on my Peloton, I'm listening to music. Music touches all of those experiences, and that's opportunity for our artists to be connected with their fans, but it's also opportunity to create and drive revenue for our artists. And that's what we're focused on, ensuring that we are being nuanced, creative, arms wide open with all of the different tech platforms out there, all of the different types of experiences, because the most powerful thing about music is that it touches everyone and can create a connection in so many different ways, and especially right now when we're all so separated, it's just so important. So yeah, you will hear us over and over and over again during our earnings calls, talk just about how excited we are about the potential opportunities out there because they're boundless.
All right, I'd be remiss if we didn't kind of start talking about the future a little bit here. So as Live returns, a day I'm very anxiously awaiting, I'm sure we all are, how does the metaverse marry with Live? And by that, I mean in terms of, ticketing, value add, VIP, meet and greet, merchandise, etc. If you can each, and let's do this succinctly because I do want to get to another question. I do want to take a couple questions. So, how do these things marry moving forward?
So yeah, I'll take one stab, and this is my thing I've been yabbering on about recently. So hopefully we can actually make it happen in the months to come. So I think that the general path for a fan at a live event is 4 months out, you buy a ticket, super fans. Then like a month out, you convince 2-3 friends to maybe join you. And then, week of you go shopping, and then day of you go in for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of fun. And then you have sugar crash, right? So after the event, you go excite, and you're having to reach them, one here on Instagram, one here. And then afterwards, whoop, they've all gone, right? But sometimes that tour could be an 18-month tour, right? But unless I'm in New York, I only care about New York. I'm not going to necessarily travel around. Certainly to other cities, maybe other countries. The great thing with virtual, so if you imagine now a virtual overlay, so when you announce the tour, you have a big virtual concert or party or event that alerts millions of people at one time that tickets are on sale, so you don't have to do bit by bit, finding them across social channels. Then you invite everyone to kind of the pre-show, right, leading up to the tour or whatever the concert is. In that virtual space, you're meeting other fans from your area, from around the world. You've got like pre-show events, meet and greets, photo ops, right? Quest, you're getting all excited, you're getting merch. And then that crescendo is coming up to the live event. You then switch back and maybe get some sort of VIP experience by being a virtual ticket holder or whatever at the live event. And then during the live event, you scan your ticket for an extra super cool bit of merch that no one else gets because you were there. And then after the event, as opposed to Sugar Crash, you then go back to the virtual after party. And then hopefully you can keep that parallel going. Then when it travels to London, there's a London version that maybe you get access to watch the London show, and you kind of keep that community going potentially for 18 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years of a tour. So I think they're going to start working symbiotically together, which potentially from ticket, you have the regular ticket, you have the virtual VIP ticket, and the whole community grows. And then when you want to go back, as opposed to people selling tickets to the next tour at the end of the first tour to make sure that you don't lose the audience, you would actually be able to maintain that relationship with the fans throughout. And then when you want to go out again or release new music, you have that active engagement with the fan base. Anyway, that's my little slice of what I would like to see happen.
I mean, I think to echo John's point a little bit, it makes me think of a story from years and years ago. I managed Miley as well. And I remember, there was this sort of debate, this is a long time ago, but there was this sort of debate whether giving the visuals of your concert away, showing the concert on TV or in theaters or wherever it was, prior to the show, either, being on the road for a while or do you film your show and put it out there before the tour or after the tour? And I remember like wanting to educate myself on this because I didn't know the answer, and there were definitely two different schools of thought. And I asked Rapino, because if you're going to ask anyone, he's probably the guy to talk to about touring. And he explained to me that obviously Live Nation has done tremendous amounts of research on that subject, and the finding was that giving, no one is going to sit at home and watch, making this up, the Beyonce concert on HBO and say, oh, you know what? I've got my fix of Beyonce now. I've seen the show on TV. I don't need to be in the room, And so obviously what they found over, tremendous amounts of research is that it obviously enhances the consumer's thirst and hunger to go and see that show if it's good. If you got a bad show and you put it on TV, it's not going to do well. But if it's good, your ticket sales should go through the roof. And I think it's a very similar thing here. I think smart artists are going to do brilliant innovations in the metaverse that are going to enhance their live shows, and they're going to figure out ways to drive traffic back and forth between their virtual world to their live world. And I think, you know, the ones that really do well at that and are really, you know, forward thinking, I think their numbers are going to go up astronomically, both in the virtual space and in the live space, because they complement each other.
Well, somebody just mentioned in the chat room, you know, that watching those documentaries, those concerts gives them FOMO. You know, having been at Live Nation for essentially 9 years, including Insomniac, there is a segment of the audience, of the artist community and management community and agent community, maybe in particular, who feels that, you know, you do a stream, you do a virtual concert, it can cannibalize your hard ticket sales. And so one of the things that I've mentioned to John V is that one of the things that we did a lot with streaming in Japan is we would just geogate it. So like it would only go to a certain part of the world or a certain city or a certain state or a certain country. And then it would appease the artist. But I agree with you, Adam. I do think, and I think there's a gamification component to this too.
Yeah.
That
absolutely
in the virtual side that can then really drive hard ticket sales. But Oana, do you want to chime in on this marrying of the two and maybe, you know, the recorded music side of it too?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to what John and Adam have said. But maybe it's a little broader, and I'll say that I'm coming from the gaming side as well. Definitely, that's where I grew up. When we think about the future, and it's a little further out, but it is a hyper reality metaverse. It is overlaid on headset devices that enable persistent synchronous live access in which the digital worlds and the physical worlds interact. So you've got interoperability between them, a ton of content that's created by users, created by artists as well, and then it's a fully functioning economy. But ultimately, we believe the physical and the digital will interact and will be consistently melded together in that future state. And definitely don't think that there's cannibalistic tendencies. I mean, for us, it's, you know, if example on that Ava Max show, that pushed other people to stream more of her content on YouTube, on other streaming services. We're not concerned about that cannibalistic stuff.
So one more question I'd like to ask, and we don't have a lot of time here, is, you know, what we have seen streaming in particular, audio streaming, Spotify, Apple, we've seen how it's radically changed A&R and marketing and strategy, just radically, right? Artists get signed based on what their streaming numbers are previous to getting a record deal. I think, you know, once artists can virtually perform, that will become another metric, right? So really the question, I think, John V, it's mainly for you, but anybody can chime in. At what point does your platform, do platforms like yours become democratized? In other words, at what point can an artist in Africa, as a friend of mine, Fabian, suggested to me today, you know, at what point can an artist from Africa put up a show, bring his audience in, monetize it, and at what point is there a self-serve platform in this virtual world?
That's a great question. I'm glad we came to it. Someone had it in the chat as well, or the Q&A. So yeah, I think we love artists from every continent, you know, every country, you know, city, etc. So the consider 2021 for Roblox like year one for music. So we're looking to build tools where we get towards that future, where every artist has a home on the platform, right, where they can engage with their fans, they can monetize that relationship, they can put on events and shows, video. They could potentially hop on live, you know. But so I think if you fast forward 3 years out, everyone will have, in the same way artists are going on TikTok or Twitch or other platforms, they'll go on to Roblox and manage that community and manage that relationship, and it hopefully is a meaningful part of how they spend their time. If you rewind back to now, so in 2021, we're gonna starting to lay the groundwork where we're not technically able yet to allow us a video. We're just working with selected partners like Warner, where we can do these launch parties. You know, video's not yet available to all the community, but we're getting there. You know, getting music onto the platform. So we're kind of building out, learning from these experiences that Oana said, trying to push the envelope, and then going back and seeing what tools do we need to improve, and what do we need to add to make this process of a week down to a day, and from a day to an hour, and from an hour to self-serve. So our job as a platform is to get better at servicing these global creators, musicians, artists, labels, etc., to do what they do best and be creative. So we're working on it, and we'll get there as soon as we can, where it is fully self-serve.
I think we pretty much are out of time. I just one last comment. As the guy who opened up Electric Daisy Carnival in China, Japan, India, Mexico, Brazil, London, pretty much all over the entire planet, I think we do need to start talking about a festival business in the virtual world. I know some people have tried it on other platforms, but certainly that's a very exciting opportunity as well. Any closing comments, Oana, for anybody?
Real quick, again, just very excited about the experiences in the metaverse. It opens up a lot of opportunity. Warner is full in on trying to open up these opportunities for audience and fans, and we're ready to go.
Adam?
No, I mean, thanks for having me. This was really fun. I actually learned a lot, listening to what everyone was talking about here. I'm obviously excited to work closely with John in the future, and to figure out new and innovative ways to entertain our audience. I mean, that's what this is all about, right? At the end of the day, we can talk about dollars and we can talk about financials and numbers, but the truth is, like, if you're really good at what you do, chances are you're never chasing the money. You're doing what's cool, or you're doing what's interesting, or you're doing what's next, or what's innovative, and the money tends to flow afterwards. So, I'm just excited about doing cool and interesting things with interesting people and amazing on interesting platforms. So I'm excited to see what the future holds.
John, some parting words?
Yeah, no, I think, echoing Adam, a lot of fun. It felt like hanging out as close to a real DEW event as we could virtually. So appreciate everyone putting it together. But yeah, I agree with Adam. It's all about for me, the fan experience and reconnecting fans in a visceral way to music, which I think has been somewhat lost in the past year with streaming. It's sort of become background. So we want to make it foreground and visceral, and with your friends, and connection, and the connections that you get through music with friendships that can last lifetimes. So just getting all that going on the platform. And I think to your question, watch this space in terms of like festivals. So this year we're going to experiment with what does a festival look like? What does a label experience look like? What does an artist experience look like? So we're going to try and have these examples, and hopefully from that will spur more innovation from more partners, so we can keep engaging the audiences and fans on the platform moving forward.
My mother raised me with the premise of your goal in life is to go make the world a better place. And I think those of us in the music business, we do make the world a better place. And I think those of us in the live business really make the world a better place. To steal a line from the late, great Tony Hsieh's, we're in the business of delivering happiness. So I give credit to the three of you for being pioneers in the metaverse, because I think we're delivering happiness in a time when we really need it in the world. I know John Roblox also is very involved in doing the right thing for the world, supporting BLM and so many other things. So thank you for that. Let's forge on, and when we do return, let's find out how this marries to the benefit of the consumer. Adam, as you said, the money will follow. And to close, Adam Minash said to us on the chat, the mosh pit is near, so stay tuned. I think we can leave it at that. Thank you all very much.
Cool. Thanks, John. See ya.
Terrific panel. Really appreciate it, John, Adam, and Oana. Thank you for closing us out here today. And to everybody who's been with us all week, just a fantastic week. Couldn't have asked for any more. To do this in the virtual environment like we have has been very special. For everybody who's a registered ticket holder, we will have the videos available next week for all the sessions. And here's to more. We will be, by the way, we will be kicking off Let's Do Lunch, our daily talk show on March 1st. So stay tuned for that. We have a whole new season coming up starting March 1st. See you soon.